I'm sure that most of you have heard the Henry Cavill Superman contract negotiations rumor that's going around, because it's certainly getting quite loud. In fact, I even tweeted out a poll about it over the weekend asking you what you think Warner Brothers should do. But today I'm covering it in a video to both tell you what I think Warner Brothers should do, but also give you some extra information that I'm privy to through my sources. So first off, the rumor. Henry Cavill is in the middle of renegotiations for his contract with Warner Brothers to play Superman. I've heard this as well from several sources, in addition to seeing the comments online. So it's categorized as a rumor, but I vouch for it. I believe it's true. It's not Henry Cavill, supposedly, that's causing the problem, but the rumor says that it's his manager, Dany Garcia. And this is very interesting because Dany Garcia is none other than Dwayne Johnson's ex-wife and current manager and business partner. Henry Cavill, it's interesting, he seems to really fall in with people, right? Tom Cruise is adopted, Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie seem to have adopted him. Now Dwayne Johnson and Dany Garcia. I don't know if they're taking pity on him or they all want a piece of Henry Cavill. I don't think there's a lot there for anyone to have a piece of. But we'll see. So Dany Garcia, maybe Dwayne Johnson, because Dwayne Johnson and Henry Cavill, if you follow them on Instagram, have interacted actually a couple of times. So maybe Dwayne Johnson was like, let Dany take care of you. And Henry Cavill, I guess Henry Cavill's not getting a lot of offers, as we'll discuss. But I think he should have been like, well, Dwayne, your career's kind of going ups and downs, right? And it seems to just, be at the mercy of the wind. I don't know how well constructed even Dwayne Johnson's career is. So, but it's the best offer apparently that Henry Cavill had. So Dany Garcia marched into Warner Brothers and she said that Henry Cavill deserves to get paid like an A-lister. And Warner Brothers was like, I don't know about that. So that begs the question, will Henry Cavill be replaced as Superman? Or maybe Warner Brothers will put Superman to rest for a while and focus on other characters, because they certainly have a lot on their plate as is. All right, so here's the extra information that I have to add to this conversation. It's not Dany Garcia. Like a good manager, she is owning it and, being the bad guy so Henry Cavill can be the good guy. But I've heard that Henry Cavill ain't such a good guy. He not only thinks that he deserves A-lister money, but also A-lister treatment, which has become a bit of a sore point, not just with him and Warner Brothers, but with those in front of him behind the camera in the DCEU. So I don't know how many people would be like, oh no, you can't get rid of Henry Cavill. We love him so much. I think some of them might be like, at least some would be like, well, if you have to, right? So he doesn't have a lot of friends, let's just say, at the DCEU. And also you can see hints of at least his bad judgment from the recent Me Too comments that gave him a lot of trouble on social media. You can see, there's other whispers about what that might mean. But I think at the very least, as I just said, it shows that I'm trying to really be careful here, that Henry Cavill doesn't have the best judgment on how to handle himself, right? Then here's the big thing, all right? I've been waiting for the opportunity to tell you this, all right? So I now believe very firmly that Ben Affleck will not continue as Batman. And this is based on the information that I've received, that when he first signed on for the role of Batman, he was promised, I know what he was promised, but I can't tell you the whole thing. Got to protect my source, okay? But let's just say he was promised a definitive out. Ben Affleck never intended for Batman to be a long-term gig for him. So his radio silence on Matt Reeves' The Batman, I feel, isn't so much Ben Affleck trying to make a decision, but probably him and Warner Brothers agreeing, well, let's soften the blow to fans and probably to Ben Affleck by being able to simultaneously announce the casting of an awesome new Batman, right? Now, I think that, there's always the off chance that Ben Affleck could be talked into it. I think he should be. I would be the person being like, please make one more Batman movie, or do Matt Reeves as the Batman. I think that Ben Affleck is a fabulous Batman. I really like him. I think he could get a little bit of a better suit. I don't think the suit looks so good on him, but he's an amazing Bruce Wayne, and I really like what he's done with the role to be. And as I've said many times, I liked him as Batman when it was first announced. I've always been supportive of that. And I think it would put a real pall and almost look like it proved the haters right if he were to leave like this. But I think it's taking so long that this is what's happening, okay? Now, what do I think Warner Brothers should do? Well, I don't think Henry Cavill's that great an actor. I'm sorry, but it's true. I think he's had his moments, especially as Superman, and I think it shouldn't be overlooked that he has such strong support from the DCEU fandom, at least right now. That could always change. The Me Too comments didn't help. And he hasn't been getting a lot of attention for Mission Impossible Fallout, right? But it's not his franchise. Maybe he feels that's his strength to go into the negotiations. Maybe that's what he and Dany Garcia decided on. But I have to tell you, for the trailer, he looks really cool, but for the few times that I've seen him speak in the trailer, I'm reminded that he is not the greatest actor. Like when I saw him in the Mission Impossible Fallout trailers, I was like, why isn't he a bigger star? He looks so amazing. And then he starts to speak, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's why he's not a bigger star. And on that note, he's got nothing else lined up except a small thriller co-starring Alexandra Daddario, Minka Kelly, Stanley Tucci, and Nathan Fillion, who just made a fan film to try and get the Uncharted movie. I mean, it's such a small potatoes project, I think it helps Warner Brothers in the negotiations. And if I were Warner Brothers, I would certainly bring it up. So as Warner Brothers, this is the offer that I would make Henry Cavill, because I'd like to see it work. And in fact, you guys voted for Find a Way to Make It Work. That received the most votes in the poll that I tweeted over the weekend. I would say, Henry, Dany, I'm going to keep Cavill at a B-lister salary, which, to be honest with you, I think is generous. But I will put in the contract that not only will Warner Brothers make Man of Steel 2, but that we will definitely go into production within a year. And then, if we do not, it'll be a pay-or-play deal. Now, for those of you who don't know that term, it means that even if they don't make Man of Steel 2, Henry Cavill will be paid for the film. So, I think that we keep him at a reasonable salary, but he gets the sequel that he so desperately wants. It puts him front and center. He gets his big movie, all the ad campaign that goes around it. It'll be all talk about Henry Cavill, right? And let's see how that does. And if it doesn't happen, if I don't go into production within a year as Warner Brothers, then he gets paid for nothing. So I think that's a very fair deal. And if Henry Cavill and Dany Garcia won't accept it, then I just recast, as Warner Brothers is probably already recasting Batman, bringing two new actors at the same time to join Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. Now, some of you screamed, reboot, when I tweeted this poll out over the weekend. Like, this is the perfect opportunity. Get rid of everyone. And some of you said, except Gal Gadot. But you know what? I don't want to lose Margot Robbie either as Harley Quinn. I like her in the role. So let's just keep going and work to course correct as quickly as possible over the next year or two. Ideally over the next year. That's why I would replace both Batman and Superman now. But if it takes 1 to 2, that's fine. But just, keep moving. Just keep moving. Don't look back. That's what I would say to Walter Hamada. But either way, I do think that Warner Brothers should make a Man of Steel, another Superman movie. I don't even know if it has to be called Man of Steel 2. Just make another Superman movie. I think that it's very clear that the fans want that. As I said before, I'll never forget watching Justice League, and when Superman cut loose with his powers, the audience erupted. It's like not understanding the importance of Luke Skywalker. Both the DCEU and Lucasfilm are making the same mistake. They're thinking it's all Batman, Han Solo. It's not. Give the people what they want, which are good guys, right? So, again, I don't know if that's Henry Cavill. So what do you think that Warner Brothers should do about this situation? And how do you feel about Henry? Does it change how you feel about Henry Cavill to hear any of this information? Again, I want to clarify. I hope it all works out. I do like him I think he's pretty good in the role. I think he deserves at least one more shot, but I wouldn't pay him any more for it. I just don't think he's earned it. So write your thoughts down below. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.